This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
May I come in, sir?
Please come in.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Shubham, you are from New Delhi.
Yes, sir.
This was your place of birth, or have you lived here also?
Yes, I have been born here and I have lived here for the whole life.
Okay. Anthropology is your option. You've done metallurgical, is very long. Your subject, metallurgical engineering and material science with a minor in computer science.
Yes, sir.
You have a choice of a minor
Yes, sir. There's a choice.
in all the courses.
It's up to the students, sir, but there is condition of the CPI on which courses we can take.
Okay. IIT Bombay. You have been a data scientist in Bangalore. AB, what is this?
So it's AB in BEV. It's
In
short
BEV.
for, yeah.
Okay. Is this a startup or something?
No, sir. It's actually the largest company in the world in alcoholic
the
beverages. Yes, sir.
In alcoholic beverage.
Yes, sir. It's the parent company of Budweiser, Corona and the like. So all the brands are under this.
Such a huge company you were working in
Yes, sir.
and you left in 1 year.
So 1.5 years.
August 21 to September 22 is written here.
Sir, actually the date is November because I was left after.
Why did you leave this job?
Sir, I was preparing for civil services alongside also with the job, and it was a very interesting job nevertheless. However, sir, I felt I was not able to give full justice to my preparation along with the job and neither there. So I thought I'll give one wholehearted try and try to get into my preferred service, the Indian Foreign Service. And if not, if luck doesn't play out for me, maybe I'll join back the company again.
You'll join back, they'll take you back.
So if I exhaust my attempts, I'm not able to reach anywhere here, then. But the offer was on the table that if I want to join,
This
they
is your
said.
third attempt.
Yes, sir.
You have 3 more to go. No problems.
Yes, sir.
You were getting much better salary here, more than 1 lakh.
Yes, sir.
You know how much you will get after joining the foreign service? If you are posted in India, 56,100 basic
Yes, sir.
plus whatever DA. You think you should join the civil services to lesser salary, and chances of salary rising, it's all fixed. It takes years for pay commissions to give reports, whereas these companies can increase your salary whenever they feel like.
Definitely, sir. Sir, if I may share a personal experience here. So, I come from a modest family, and when I joined IIT Bombay, I was given a monthly allowance of 3,000 rupees. And now coming to the point where I was earning more than this in a day, sir, the numbers definitely had improved a lot. And personally for me, all the luxuries that I could think of that money could buy, I tried them. But I found that it was still not satisfying. Post that, I took the decision that I must look for satisfaction somewhere else, preferably in the service, in the job that I do. Hence, I took this plunge, sir. So even if the salary is a bit less, I wouldn't mind it, sir, if the job is satisfying.
Okay, why did you choose foreign service as your first preference? Who has motivated you into choosing?
So truth be told, I didn't even know about the service when I started preparation 3 years back. During the journey, I came to know about it, and I did read some books from retired ambassadors about their experiences.
Oh, name some.
So one was TP Srinivasan sir, and another one was Satish Chandra sir, the 4 decades in Indian Foreign Service. These two I read, sir, and the experiences I found were very interesting. Apart from that, sir, my analysis of where India's growth story right now is, sir, the Foreign Service gives us a great opportunity to present India abroad and fight for its challenges, be it the permanent seat at United Nations, etc. And sir, my temperament would be best suited for this kind of job, hence.
Haven't you heard that foreign policies do not lead to national development, do they?
Sir, in my opinion, foreign policies themselves are an extension of our domestic policies. Although they are not as quick in terms of the returns that we get as, say, the national development policies. However, sir, in the long run, they do aid the national growth story. So if we look at some examples, sir, I think in the last 1 decade, the outreach to diaspora has increased multifold, and that is giving its dividend now in terms of both our soft power as well as the ingress that we are getting into much more circles. For instance, our diplomacy with US was given a big fillip because of our people that were there, sir. So it does take time, but
But Donald Trump is likely to win elections. Is it not going to affect our relations with US adversely?
there are some reports suggesting that Mr. Trump may return to power. However, sir, I believe India's relation with US is not just based on one political leader, but rather it's very broad based. If we see our current cooperation, it ranges all the way from science and technology, economy, defense, to even the student exchange that we have. There may be a slight setback given the current geopolitical situations that are there, as also a bit of rising fundamentalism across the world. But I do not believe, sir, that India-US relations would suffer a major setback just because of a change of political leader.
I think it has already suffered a setback with the attempt to kill Pannu. The US president didn't come to as a chief guest on 26 January because of that. You agree?
Sir, because of the one incident, the president could not come. I do not believe it represents the full story, sir. There were some news articles quoting this. However, the official statements from the US External Affairs Department suggest that it was because of a mismatch of schedule. Because the specific dates that we wanted, it was not available for the president. However, the recent Pannu incident is a slight thorn in our relations, but I think it is just one of the matters, sir. In all the other fields, our relations are very well and thriving, sir. So, and as we also solve this, it will get back to normal, sir. I do believe it, sir.
Okay. India's imports oil from Russia. It has been importing lately. It is a subject of criticism by the West. What has India's stand been on this?
Sir, I think it has been much raised both by the US as well as the European countries. However, sir, our Foreign Affairs Minister, External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has been very clear that we as India, as Indian diplomats, must first look for our own citizens' needs and aspirations. And sir, being a country that has to import crude oil from somewhere, and given the sanctions that are there, we will always go and buy the cheapest oil and not looking for which country it is from, firstly, sir. So, sir, we have been very clear that it won't be affected. And secondly, sir, I think the allegations are a bit misplaced because as he also quoted, what we buy from Russia in 1 month, Europe buys in a day, especially in terms of the gas imports. So, sir, I think the allegations are slightly misplaced.
Suppose Pakistan had a lot of oil and they were selling it cheap to us. Will you buy from Pakistan?
Sir, at the moment, our stand is that if Pakistan continues its terrorist activities, there cannot be business as usual. So even if they may be selling it to us for maybe less than $50 a barrel, I don't think, maybe a portion of it can be bought, but not to the extent that that money can be used for waging the proxy war activities in the regions of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, extending the logic, the West has been saying that India, by buying oil from Russia, is funding Russia in the war against Ukraine. 80,000 Ukrainian soldiers have died in the war. 10,000 civilians have died. How do you explain this? Why are we funding Russia for war?
Again, sir, in my humble opinion, I think again the allegations are a bit misplaced. Yes, sir, we have to buy oil from them considering our own interest, because we even at the moment are less than $4,000 per capita income country, and Europe having significantly higher, I think more than $15,000 per capita, they are still dependent on Russia for oil imports because
Oil or gas?
sorry sir, gas imports from the Nord Gas pipeline. So because a knee-jerk reaction would increase inflation to the extent where for the citizens, for the common people, it would become very difficult. So yes sir, some money is going there. However, again, so if we see the trends of India vis-a-vis Europe, I think they're a bit misplaced. Apart from this, sir, India's stand from the day one has been that atrocities, the situation on the ground must stop. The war, the sufferings must stop, and both the countries must come on a table and debate it out, because that is the only long-term possible solution, even in my opinion, sir.
Okay, Shubham, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shubham, you are working right now?
No, sir. I left my job last November.
Okay, so you are working as data scientist, right? Yes. So you know the data is very, very important. As a data scientist, you must be knowing that in this digital age, data is very, very important, right?
Yes, sir.
So what are the regulations? What are the government regulations for this data? What are the data regulations?
So if we talk about India, the data and all the related cyber policies come still under the IT Act 2000, and we have section 66 which governs it. Apart from that, sir, right to privacy.
Section 66.
60, I'm sorry sir, I may be wrong about this. I'm unable to remember the exact.
No, whole, see.
I think 66 was repealed so I'm sorry sir. Apart from this, right to privacy is implicit under Article 21 also, but a comprehensive data protection law, that is still under the works. There was a bill that was introduced, but now after some...
Okay, what are the various provisions in that bill? Why data... Okay, what are the various protections in the bill? First tell me.
So the bill focuses mostly on the concept of data fiduciaries, wherein the data of citizens will be stored by one data fiduciary which will be responsible for its safekeep. On the other hand, citizens have full right, if they want, that data must be deleted within a certain time frame, except certain provisions like national security or there is some event. There are also certain provisions about minors, wherein adults, that is their parents, would have certain rights, because as of now minors are maybe not...
Coming to the data, the
Yes,
first
sir.
thing you should say is the data localization. Whenever we are talking about the data, regarding data protection, data privacy, you need to first about data localization. So tell me, what is data localization?
Thank you for pointing it out, sir. Data localization is the concept where a country utilizes its digital sovereignty, that is the data of its own citizens must lie within its own borders so that it can be prevented from misuse. For example, sir, recently RBI took certain actions against American Express because it was taking our data, the Indian customers' data to
So entire data that is being produced in this country, it must be
within our borders, sir.
so all the data.
So that is being generated by our customers.
Okay.
So,
all
but
the data.
a copy can be created for processing and getting trends out of it, but the primary copy must be here in India.
Acha, copy can be created outside also.
So, subject
Every
to certain
data.
conditions, sir.
Every
The
data.
personal identifiable data cannot be taken out, but the non-personal data
Okay.
for trends, sir, because it is the key requirement that is there in a lot of talks. Also in the Osaka framework that was discussed in G7 meet.
What the recent bill talks about data localization? What are the various restrictions it is putting?
So the primary restriction is that the industry bodies are protesting a bit against it because, as you also mentioned, sir, data is the new oil. It is what runs the majority of the software industries at the moment. So that is number one, sir. Second, sir, there is also the administrative or the management cost of it to have that copy here in India, as also a team that has to manage it. These are two I can think of at the moment, sir.
Okay. See, there is a critical data. There is critical information infrastructure.
Yes.
What comprises critical information? What comprises critical data? First tell me, what is the definition in the IT Act?
So I'm not aware of the exact definition, but if I may, sir, critical information refers to the important information with respect to our key industries, be it defense, electricity, that banks, financial industries, that directly impacts the
Okay, I will
citizens.
tell you the definition.
Okay, sir.
Critical data refers to destruction of those data or those systems. It will have direct impact on countries, economy, security, etc.
Yes, sir.
That is called critical data. Okay. So what are the examples of critical data? Maybe financial systems data,
Yes, sir.
or maybe power sector data,
Yes, sir.
or maybe airlines data, like that, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell me, what is sensitive data and what is non-sensitive data?
So sensitive data includes the personal information that is there of citizens, which can be used to target them. Apart from that, sir, the confidential information related to the country, that is also there, sir. However, I'm not fully aware of it, sir.
So give me the examples of sensitive data and non-sensitive data. If you are a citizen, what according to you is sensitive data and what according to you is non-sensitive data?
So if I take the example of when I was working, I was also given a lot of data of the Indian customers. So sensitive data includes the name, the address, the age, all the demographic details that can pinpoint an exact customer. That is sensitive data, sir. Non-sensitive data would include, if we just remove these out from the other data, for example, our preferences in terms of eating, even so location is a sensitive data and Google was sued for it. All apart from these generally come under non-sensitive data, sir.
Okay. See, there is a lot of data leakage is happening these days. You are giving your data for some purpose and the real estate company or some other company will use the data for some other purpose. They are selling the data.
Yes, sir.
So, lot many companies are doing. You know, data is, these days it is money.
Yes, sir.
Right? You are a data scientist, you must be knowing what is data. Data is $1 trillion business is going with data these days.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, what are the penalties if a person is violating data privacy and data security? What are the penalties in India right now?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of them at the moment.
Okay. Tell me, I will ask you one more question.
Yes, sir.
That, see, a lot of data is being generated.
Yes, sir.
It is called big data.
Yes, sir.
That big data is being fed into the machines, what we call as machine learning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Further, it will also have that AI learning models, AI tools, what we say.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, these days, no, there is a lot of talk about generative AI. What is the difference between generative AI and normal AI?
So normal AI is the super set of all the artificial intelligence sets that are there. So generative AI in specific is a set of pre-trained models that after reading from the data can generate text, images, videos and the like.
What are the examples of generative AI and what are the examples of normal AI?
So the famous ones that we read are ChatGPT from OpenAI, the Sora.
What is that? What it comes under? What generative?
So these are generative AIs.
These are generative AI.
Yes.
Then what is the normal AI? What are the examples?
So normal AI, for example, when I was working, so the entire gamut of machine learning comes under normal AI, which is used.
Tell me the example of real life example. You tell me. You are talking the real life example of ChatGPT. You are saying it is generative AI. Then what is the real life example of normal AI?
So real life example is, for instance, if you may be searching on Google for certain things and after a point of time you go on to YouTube or let's say Amazon to buy something, that same thing would appear as ads. So this is also an AI but non-generative AI.
Okay, you know, if you open a website, no, there will be chatbot will be appearing on the website, right?
Yes.
Chatbot comes under what? Generative AI or normal AI?
Sir, it may be both. There are certain in the primitive chatbots which can just be trained with a specific set of responses. They are non-generative. However, sir, the recent text-to-speech, the chat models, for example, Google's Gemini and ChatGPT, some chatbots utilizing these may be under generative AI, sir.
Been practicing Shunya meditation. So what is Shunya meditation?
Ma'am, Shunya meditation is a slightly advanced form of meditation wherein using certain practices we eventually reach to a state of Shunya, that is emptiness.
Okay. And how is it different from Vipassana meditation? Because in Vipassana also you're not supposed to speak for an extended period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
So how is it different?
Ma'am, though I have not practiced Vipassana, from what I know from reading, Vipassana is mostly observing the breath until our mind quietens down. It is, I may be wrong in certain aspects, ma'am.
Yes.
This is what I have read. It is the primary paths that we practice in Shunya meditation, because we start with observing the bodily movements that are there, then our breath, then we move towards the thoughts, and eventually we reach to a state of Shunya.
So isn't Shunya, reaching a state of Shunya one of the objectives of meditation? All meditations eventually do lead to Shunya, right?
I won't say all, ma'am. There are certain, for instance, mindfulness meditations which are more focused on awareness. So they help us being aware and be able to use our faculties better, like intelligence, the body, etc. But Shunya is different.
Yes. Can you tell me the three criminal justice laws which were amended? What are they?
Ma'am, the names are Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita, Bharatiya...
You can tell me the old names.
Ma'am, they are replacements for the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, as well as the Evidence Act.
The Evidence Act. What are the changes which have been made to CRPC?
Ma'am, the general trend, if we see, certain petty offences have been decriminalized.
Okay.
Also, certain new modes of repercussions have been included, like community service for certain low-level crimes.
Okay.
Then, ma'am, certain newer forms of crimes have been added. For instance, the hit-and-run cases, especially from the truck drivers, which has also been contested. Also, ma'am, certain relaxations have been made for the medical professionals that were not there earlier.
Okay.
These are some I can remember.
Okay. Now you've been so you've worked in Bangalore for a year and a half.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been to Rameshwaram Cafe.
Yes,
It was in the news recently.
yes, ma'am.
Why was in the news, and how could we have avoided that situation?
Ma'am, it was in the news for all the wrong reasons, because there was a small scale IED blast there. Initially, we thought it might be related to some cylinder blast, but the eventual CCTV revealed it to be a small scale IED blast. There are some steps that we could have taken, ma'am. One definitely is the strengthening of intelligence framework, ma'am. A person carrying IED, putting it in a busy cafe in a metro city like Bangalore, maybe intelligence could have been better. Second, ma'am, is better monitoring of CCTVs, etc. There can be, especially in such hotspots where people come, there can be a bit more security by the team themselves, who could monitor suspicious people and raise an alarm. And third, ma'am, better community participation. Even we have civil people who can identify such, for example, even in metros, there are notices that if you see an unidentified bag, please reach out to the police.
Yes.
Similar things can be implemented, ma'am, in my opinion.
Okay. Now, let us say you are a DM of a backward district. What are the 3 measures you will take to improve the economy of that district?
May I take 10 seconds,
Yes,
ma'am?
please.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, since you mentioned it is a backward district, I am assuming that there would be a dearth of industries, etc. So the first thing that I would do is improving the infrastructure, both the hard infrastructure as well as the social infrastructure. So hard infrastructure like inflow of roads, certain industries can be set up which would attract capital and people there, as well as, ma'am, social infrastructure in terms of education and health can be improved so that they can improve better. Second is, ma'am, focusing a bit more on saturation of government schemes. Since it is a backward district, people would be having trouble making their ends meet, in my assumption. So if we can provide them with basic necessities like water, food, etc., then probably they will be able to focus better on education, higher value activities and so on.
Okay.
And third, ma'am, would be linking them to the export market. So recently, there is this one district, one product scheme that was launched in the last budget. However backward a district may be, ma'am, even in tribal districts, we have certain products that have immense value in the international markets. For instance, ma'am, the Madhubani paintings that are there, they are also being exported, ma'am. So on similar lines, certain products can be identified, can be given GI tags and also be linked to export markets. All of these.
Okay, Madhubani already has a GI tag?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you mention infrastructure, you didn't talk about skilling of these people.
Yes.
So we bring in industry, but won't these people be relegated to low-level jobs if they're not skilled?
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you for pointing it out. I missed it in the top 3, ma'am.
Okay.
Post their education and health status improving, ma'am,
And
they should
linking their
definitely-
skilling with the industry which is being brought in.
Definitely, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell me what, so you've also mentioned that you were department academic mentor.
Yes.
What are the skills needed to be a department academic mentor? What skills did you possess?
Although, ma'am, it is largely for academic mentoring, and I thought that just having a good CPI, a good command over subjects would have been enough. However, after talking to my mentees over a period of 1 year, there are certain personal issues that come up. And so, ma'am, apart from having a good grasp over academics, I felt a certain bit of empathy is needed to listen to what they want to say, a certain level of understanding of how to approach their problems, and if something is beyond us, whom should we refer them to. For instance, one of my mentees was suffering from a bit of depression because of low grades. So I had to refer him to a counselor because it was a bit beyond me to counsel him. So these things.
What is the difference between empathy and compassion? You mentioned that you had to listen with empathy.
Yes, ma'am.
Or was that compassion? What is the difference between the two?
Ma'am, while listening, empathy must be there. Empathy is being able to feel what the other person is feeling. And compassion is then taking some action on top of it. So in my opinion, while listening, empathy was there. But when I referred him to a counselor, that was maybe compassion.
Now you speak to a person, a mentee who is depressed, and you feel that depression. So isn't that harmful for you? If that's empathy.
I would like to disagree on this, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, when we also feel a certain bit of sadness for our mentees whom we have developed a close relation. However, I think this is also a prime responsibility of a mentor to have their own emotional intelligence in place, being able to regulate it and then answer, give them the proper answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Shubham,
Yes, sir.
coming to your name, what is the meaning of Shubham?
Sir, Shubham means auspicious.
Okay. And what is the opposite of Shubham?
It would probably be Ashubh, sir. But Shubham is like comes from the root of Shubh, that means auspicious.
So do you believe in Shubh and Ashubh?
So on a personal level, at the moment, no. I see that based on my life experiences, there are some things that are good and bad. But if we just categorize them, we are not able to learn from them. So I have also had a lot of experiences that did not do well in my favor, but I have become a better person after going through them.
Okay, define Shubh and Ashubh in, as you are an engineer also, from science perspective.
Sir, from a science perspective, the aim of science is to develop certain technologies, and a lot of times these technologies are value neutral. However, how we use them makes all the difference. If I may talk about nuclear energy, so that is also an advent of science. If used for power generation, it is so helpful. But if used as atomic bombs or hydrogen bombs, it is bad, sir. So this can be one Ashubh and Shubh. The others can be also in terms of AI, sir. So artificial intelligence, in my opinion, is also value neutral, but how we train it, what data we train it on, and what applications we put it on to makes all the difference.
Okay, I give you a statement, just analyze. Indian society is eclipsed with taboos and superstition. What's your perspective on this?
I would agree to this statement to a certain extent, sir. Coming from a very long history of culture that we have had, there are certain imprints even on the present society that remain of the past. It includes but is not limited to certain forms of untouchability that are still there, certain caste-based discrimination and so on. However, sir, in my own experience, in the last 15 years of what I have seen, as sir, the literacy in India improves and so does the socio-economic parameters, or the effect of all of these is decreasing to a certain extent. And sir, I have this positive belief that in the next 10 to 15 years, these may be rendered useless.
Okay. You have a hobby of interacting with the people of diverse people and culture. So in Delhi, as a resident of Delhi, in how many cultural zones of Delhi you can divide? I mean, how many cultural zones you see in Delhi?
So may I take a few seconds to think on this? So from my experience, Delhi is a hotspot of a lot of migrants and people from the nearby states that come here and across the country to look for employment, and with them they bring their culture. So largely, if I divide, sir, we have the Haryanvi and Rajasthani, the West Indian culture that is there. We also have a lot of Punjabi.
Like East, West, North, South Delhi. In this way you have to tell.
Okay, so like which area has which major culture? Okay, sir. So I think the West and a certain bit of South Delhi has highlights of Haryanvi and Rajasthani culture. Towards the East and Central Delhi, sir, we have a lot of Punjabis living here, especially in the Ovarin area as well. In North Delhi, sir, since it is near to Uttar Pradesh, we have influence from there. And sir, South Delhi, again a bit of Haryanvi culture is there. Apart from this, sir, there are pockets of Tibetans that we have people from Northeast that are spread across uniformly. I won't classify them as a specific area of Delhi, sir.
All right. So your optional is anthropology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How come that Indian tribe are still at evolving stage?
So may I ask for a clarification? So which, in terms
For
of
an
what?
example, the tribes which are residing in Shompen, like in Andaman and Nicobar, they are still at evolution.
Okay, understood, sir.
And other tribes, they are at certain advanced stages. Why is it so?
So from anthropological studies, we see that geographical isolation is the primary cause of this. As you mentioned, sir, Shompen tribes and the other Andamanese, Nicobarese tribe, they are present in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and certain tribes even in Northeast, sir, they have been away from the mainstream society, and thus their pace of evolution has reduced as compared to the Central Indian tribes like Santals, Oraons, Bhils, etc., sir.
And why most of the tribes, as far as other population, in comparison to other population is concerned, we see that a lot of percentage of tribes have matrilineal orientation.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so?
So, I know of few tribes which have matrilineal societies, but
The
for
tribes
majority,
residing in Northeast.
yes, sir, for Northeast specifically they have. Sir, I think the primary reason is the way their society is. Sir, along with matrilineal societies, the emphasis is also on the like the sister's son, because they live with the uncles. In such a case, sir, there is a conundrum between how the property is to be divided and how the power, like who is the head of the family, would be. So in these cases, the head of family is the mother, but the property gets divided to the uncle and the son in that manner. And also, sir, there are certain aspects of employment and warfare. The men who would frequently go out to fight wars, so it was the woman who had to take care of the family. And so the matrilineal societies evolved in that manner.
Okay. My last question, why the size of brain gets decreased as we evolve on the further stages, as far as the anthropological perspective is concerned?
So there is a rule in anthropology, I'm not able to recall the name, but that rule suggests that a larger size in terms of the energy efficiency of the body, that decreases. So sir, over the course of evolution, as also competition from other species, the selective pressure has made the size of the organisms a bit lower.
Okay. Thank you, Shubham.
Thank you, sir.
No, he's speaking quite well. And priority, of course, at times you really cannot structure your answers so well that you'll prioritize, but you are quite good in your replies.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe you would like to read newspapers regularly and some economic newspapers also.
Okay, sir.
Are you reading any?
Yes, I'm reading 2 newspapers daily, the Indian Express and Times of India, but not an economics newspaper as such.
Why you some allergy towards economic times or something?
No, sir. I'll start it from today.
You have time, you pick up newspapers of last 2 months, go through it.
Okay, sir.
It's always to be better prepared than optimal preparation, whatever you call it. Prepare more.
Definitely, sir.
Okay.